Assalamu alaikum. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Reading with Anwar, the first episode. I'm going to go over books that have affected me in life or whatever since childhood and have stayed with me to this day. There are a few, a bunch of books I keep thinking about and themes and stuff that happened in the book that keep coming into my mind, even like 20 plus years later. So I thought I'd create a series to read the books with you. They're mainly probably gonna be like kids books or short books, but for our first video, I'm gonna go into Maria Shriver's 10 Things I Wish I'd Known Before I Went Out into the Real World. This is a book my mom gave me before I started my first job, and she said you have to read this before you start working. And so I did it. I read it, I think, within the first week. And so when I got my first full-time job, I actually read the book, and it was so helpful to look at all of these things she was talking about. So in honor of my brother just now starting his first job, I thought the first video would be this book because it's a long book. So what we're gonna do is I saw I had some pages marked. We're gonna read some of those, and then you can read the book on your own time. And this was really actually helpful going into my first job. I have some things from here, I remember to this day. I don't know if these things that I marked are the same things, but I'm going to read some of them. So here we go. I always get a chuckle when young people come up to me and say, I want to do just what you're doing. I'm going to keep my finger on the word so you can read along with me. And go on to explain that, of course, they realize it'll take them a few years. They fully expect they can be Tom Brokaw, I don't know what this is, or Barbara Walters by the time they're 30. Listen, you can't short circuit the learning process. It takes time to get to the top, and that's good because by the time you get there, you'll have learned what you need to know in order to stay there. So, relax, take your time, and don't be in such a rush. And remember, no job is beneath you, but also that on your way up, you may run into critical and judgmental people, jealous people, people who may say you got where you are because of who you are, or what you are, what school your father went to, or what you look like, or who you knew when. No matter, shake it off. If they have a problem with you, it's their problem, not yours. Just shelve your ego, put your head down, and bulldog forward, grinding it out. There is no better way to gain respect and self respect than through hard work. So, this is also, I see this a lot within Kuwait or in general, everyone my age. All of us, of course, we want to go quickly up the ladder. But getting quickly, just passing all these steps up the ladder, you really miss out on all the fun in the beginning. And this is so true with it doesn't matter your background or where you started or who you know. Like a lot of people comment on these nepo babies, but yani everyone, whoever is out there doing something, no matter what resources they have. Of course, if you have more resources, it's easier for 100%. But if they're even with the resources, there are people out there doing nothing. So if you're out there doing something, that's still incredible. So that was cool. Okay, that was one. I'm just gonna close it maybe for future reference. I don't know. All right. Next one. Okay. I asked them for technical help describing the fight. Here's a piece of paper. Could you please jot down a few? Okay, this here, let me go back because I remember what this was about. I think she was working for a news channel, and then she got a boxing job. So the guy who gave her the job said a boxing, talking about the job. So he said, "Do you know anything about boxing?" No, you? Nope. Let's go. And so they had no idea what boxing is. And what they did is when they got there, I figured the right people were the reporters who were cover boxing for a living. I went to several who were sitting ringside. People of ABC News and the guy from Sports Illustrator. I'm skipping the names because I don't know how to pronounce them. I asked them for technical help describing the fight. Here's a piece of paper. Could you please jot down a few notes? Who hit whom with a left jab or a right uppercut in the round? Whatever you can do will be appreciated. I'll come get the paper when it's over. They were amused. You know, people who are really good at their game are generous with their gifts. So true. Not stingy with them. So true. It was called the fight of the year, and it certainly felt that way to me. So, anyways, this like I now that I'm saying it, I feel like it's stuck in my head in the time because it reminded me like you don't need to know about the thing. You should ask, and you should like this is what I do now. I don't pretend I know what they're talking about when they talk about something at work. If I don't know what it is, no matter how stupid I sound, I ask them to explain. Because then you're really building on the knowledge. And look, like she asked the professional at the job about what she was sent to report on because she didn't know anything, and she ended up with like a good outcome. And it's all for asking and all for learning and all for this, and it comes out with a better outcome and a better result. So that was cool. Ouch. Welcome to adulthood. Your parents, your friends, society, the business world, no one but you is responsible for how you conduct yourself. Huge message in 20s. You're not a victim. The single most important determining factor in your life is you. And it's never too early to get your ethical act together. Be strong about what you believe. Be firm about who you really are, plus and minus. Know what you will and won't do to get ahead. Know what you can and cannot live with. Believe me, this is a big one. You know what? When I first read this book, I was in my 20s. I think I was like maybe 25. And now that I'm 32, this yeah, 33. This I resonate so much because you have to know what you can and cannot live with. Your job will test your ethics and therefore teach you ethics every day. Very, very true. The life lessons my own parents gave me are probably the most I've relied on. I'd known how much I'd need them in my profession, I would have listened even better. My father has always been highly respected because he carries himself with intelligence, humor, dignity, and class. He's the one who taught me it's never worth stabbing someone in the back to get ahead. He said that talent and smarts always win out. That if you're good, you'll get it the great job. He said, never let a puffed up ego make your decisions for you. That's a hard one if you're a driven person like me, because chances are you've got a sizable ego too. Okay. After we'd been in the hot seat almost a year, the network sent all the morning shows to London to cover the royal wedding of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. It was the summer of '86, and I remember it clearly. Not just because we delivered hours and hours of terrific live television, not just because we had great guests, and not just because the shows were lively, edgy, and interesting. I remember it because of what had happened afterwards. The staff of our show I can't say those words, congregated in the London Bureau, congratulating each other and speculating on how long the royal marriage would last. What we didn't know was the marriage would last longer than we would. The network president came into the London Bureau, and in the time-honored tradition of network executives errors, he congratulated us on work. Sorry for everyone who's listening to this while driving. Told us how wonderful our team was and left. Later that same day, we got the word by fax that the morning news had been cancelled. Can always happen. Not just for not just for us and me, but the whole show. Boom, just like that, finish. As someone I once said, hasta la vista, baby. People in your business will lie to you. Some will even lie straight to your face. Don't laugh. Okay, now here she talks about your hair too long. Cut it. It's too distracting. Your hair too dark. Lighten it. Blonde is better with that. You can read this on your own. Next. Sorry, next. Okay. Okay. They opened up and shared their stories. Walter, I don't know how to say his name, told me that when he was retired from the CBS Evening News, he thought his career was over. If you can imagine that now. Barbara Walters told me that what happened when she co-anchored the ABC World News Tonight and was cancelled, which freed her up for the cosmic career she's had since. So many successful people told me they grew emotionally and were strengthened spiritually by falling somewhere along the road. It takes time, but it happens. For me, getting canned, when they fired her, made me fearless about my career. It gave me the strength to follow my gut, to be myself on the job. In fact, I think I did some of my best work on the morning news after we got cancelled. Okay. But as my grandmother taught me, life is a marathon. It's an endurance event played out over time. Once I was freaking out to my mother about not being good enough in any area of my life. Relatable to a lot of people. She said, Maria, you can have and be all the things you want to be. Just do it over a lifetime. Don't try to do them all at once because you can't. If you try to, everyone around you will suffer, mostly you. So when I read this book, it was before, like 3 or 4 years before I did my first arts exhibition. And I read this, look, I highlighted it, but never stuck in my head. I have to be forced to do this. When I left this job, after I read this book, I worked in that place for 2 years, then left the job. And I told my mom I wanted to do my exhibition and a lot of other things. And I was like, I'm gonna take care of and I'm gonna do all this. And then she said, and why you can't do all these things? Focus on one. Which one you want to do? Do that one this year. Because I was like trying to prove myself. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. This is why I'm taking this year off. So I chose my exhibition, which I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. And so true. Like this, now I'm reading this, I'm like, oh my God, that's so true. And ended up doing it. Took a year and then I did it. Okay. Next. I'm gonna skip this one. Next. So give some feedback in the comments about the so far. So this thing I had in my head and about like reading with Anwar series. So let me know if I'm reading too slow, too fast, if you'd like more stories from me or more from the book. And coming up, it's going to be a lot of kids' stories that really affected my brain to this day. Oh my God, is that true? And I had no inkling of this when I left college. Otherwise, I wouldn't have spent my 20s worrying that I wasn't married. In fact, if any of you is worried that you haven't run into anyone named right, male or female, don't be in such a hurry. Chill, relax, enjoy your freedom. Because once you're married, you don't have that kind of freedom anymore. After being in such a rush to meet their soulmate, so many people complain about being married to them. That's so true. Okay. Love lessons from the trenches. Women, don't expect a man to make your life and give you an identity. You must work at making your own life an identity. If you don't, I guarantee you'll have a distant, uninvolved, and resentful man on your hands. And you will be angry because he failed to fulfill your expectations. But your problem isn't your husband, it's your unrealistic expectations. And I say here to men as well. So since this is my video, this video is for my brother. Here we go. Remember, I have 4 brothers, and do not expect a woman to handle and arrange all the non-career areas of your life for you, as if your job is your only responsibility in the marriage. You can't opt out of all the other areas of your life. If you think that's too much and you can't possibly help take care of business outside of your business, think again. Because if you don't, I guarantee you'll have a stressed out, distant, and resentful woman on your hands, and you will be angry because she failed to fulfill your expectations. But your problem isn't your wife, it's your unrealistic expectations. Men and women, there's no faster way to kill love than to blame the other party for not doing what you ought to do for yourself. To be sure, you can be blissfully happy with a partner, but you can't hold him or her responsible for making and keeping you happy. It's not fair and it's not possible. If you set your partner up as your higher power, you end up terribly disappointed and then think it's their fault when they aren't. Give it up. Okay. This is also crazy to read. Okay. Oh, one more. I wish I'd known how important my health would be. I'd have taken better care of myself earlier. Now that we can learn and grow and change in our 40s and 50s and way beyond, it's a crime to let our bodies deteriorate from neglect or misuse. All right, so these are the passages from the book that I have. I wonder if I had, there was one page that really stayed with me, but I didn't find it today. And it was, this reminds me of my parents, by the way. My father had the one I read before. But there's something. Okay, there's these two. I didn't read this. Okay, there's this one. No matter how hard I tried, I never got any better at all. But I'd never trade my time as the worst sound person in history, because it was one of my best lessons in humility and acceptance of my own limitations. Note, everything does not come easy. Despite what mom and dad told you, you cannot always do anything you set your mind to. I work with people who can do things I know now I just cannot, and I accept it. Okay. There's one, I can't find it, but one of the main things that stuck with me in my head with this book is she was talking about you rely on the people around you. You think that you know more than them, but really listen to your coworkers or teammates or people with you at work and try to learn from them, because they will teach you a new perspective you don't have. And when I got into my first job, and I read that sentence, and of course, coming in young and all this, and even older people we all think we know better, we can do better, like we're judging like the way other people handle things. But after I read this sentence in the book, I was like, you know what? Like, it really opened my mind, and I saw my coworkers differently and saw what they bring to the table, and it really, um, and it really, like created a better team, and for me myself a better outcome, and it was really really helpful. I carry this in like all my work and all my life aspects after this. So anyways, this first reading, Read with Anwar, is dedicated to my brother, and mabruk on your job and good luck. Or anyone that has a job, I hope you like took something from the quotes I read, and this book really really is really helpful. And my mom, I remember, said she was like, give it to people graduating from our high school. She was telling me the other day. Good book so far. Stay tuned for the next one coming soon.